What's up, everybody? We are live. We want to just welcome everyone to the LFG podcast. I am filling in for Chad Holloway. You guys will recognize Jamie Kerstetter, the co-host of the LFG podcast. Also joining Katie Stone Poker. We're having an official ladies poker LFG podcast, which was the idea of Jamie Kerstetter. Jamie, how'd you come up with this idea?
It took a lot of thinking. It's ladies week. We're ladies. And I was like, we should have a lady on our podcast.
So let's get serious though, actually.
I'm a lady.
This is an interesting thing though, because this ladies week feels like it's a new thing. Did they have ladies week last year? Don't look at me, by the way. We want to engage with our viewers. Sorry, guys.
We can look at our own faces.
I don't remember there being a ladies week. And I know that there's a ladies warm up today.
That's a first. That's a first, yeah.
And it just seems like this whole concept of the ladies week is something I don't remember happening before. Maybe because I work all the time and I don't play.
So they've had ladies week, but it's like more spread out. Like you wouldn't really know unless you go to like the Wynn, Venetian, Aria. Each one, and Planet Hollywood, each one hosts its own ladies event during the week. So women come out here and they get to play like 6 or 7 events during the week instead of just the WSOP event.
Okay, well, you guys are both playing an event right now, which is an open event. Am I right?
Yeah. We're playing online.
So just in case they're moderately distracted or you guys want to know, if you are playing with them and you want to know what they have, feel free. We're live so you can jump in and find out what is this event actually.
This is the WSOP.com $500 Turbo Deep Stack bracelet event. And registration is still open, I think, until 6:30 our time.
We would be the first ones to podcast while winning a bracelet if we end up winning later tonight.
Wow. That would be sick. So this is actually another thing that I thought I noticed. What I want to ask you guys, what's your opinion on the WSOP schedule this year? For me, this year, I thought that there was more bracelet events than before, and also more of these more reasonable buy-in events, which I could definitely get down with. Is that your professional opinion on the schedule?
Yeah, it's definitely a visible effort on WSOP's part to really try to attract a broader poker playing audience. I know a lot of people are really divided. I think pretty much everyone we talk to, our friends, it just seems like people really like it or they really love it. I am in the camp that I think it's good for poker. I think that the lower buy-ins can never be a bad thing for poker, especially with the void, the online poker void in the U.S. currently. And so,
who doesn't like it?
Rich people.
I was just going to say,
like it.
Your bitch bankrolls need to go to the 25K and leave some for us.
I like our peasant schedule. I'm excited about it. I've been a peasant for the last few years after poker got harder.
You just said, wait.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say?
I've been a peasant for the last few years.
I thought you said present schedule, but you actually did say
peasant. Yeah, it's a peasant schedule.
Okay.
There's stuff that people can afford to play, even if they're not super rich.
Yeah.
And you could still, and there's so many people in each field that you can still win 500K in these events.
And along that same vein kind of goes I mean, not really, but kind of like the re-entry debate too, because you're talking about all of these lower buy-in tournaments and what the effect of what the effect has on the entire poker industry with the re-entries dropping down to that level too. And I definitely see in different recreational poker groups that I'm in on Facebook and stuff, I try to keep up on what people are saying and just kind of see what people feel and what they want. And the recreationals do appreciate the lower buy-in and then the additional chance of having one re-entry or 2 re-entries.
Some of the low buy-ins have incredible structures.
They do.
They are deep stacked. Yeah. I've heard people complain about that too. The double stack went 2 days before being in the money, deep into day 2. But you can look at the schedule before you play. So there's a million tournaments everywhere. If you don't want to be playing 2 days to cash a 1K, then skip that one. There's tournaments everywhere all over Vegas.
And I just actually interviewed Joseph Chong, who won the 1K double stack, and he said,
Congrats.
I was probably the biggest complainer of all on Twitter
works,
about this shitty structure. And he said, complain on Twitter, win the tournament.
Yep.
But, I mean, nobody can deny the fact that it was almost $700,000 to first place. So, it was 5 days, 4 days, whatever it is for you, hey, it's probably worth it, in the end. And you're only going to get tournaments like that when you can get a buy-in and a price point that you're going to attract people firing multiple bullets. And
like the other really great thing about that too is when you do open up an entire other group of players, you also are opening up potentially a new group of winners too, and that's always really good for poker. It's always great to have new names and new personalities, and high buy-ins are a big barrier of entry for a lot of players.
Also, it's a good experience if you're playing your first event and you're not out in 10 minutes.
Exactly.
And like you hear people on break, especially the ladies events and seniors events and things like that attract a lot of recreational players. They're on their phone saying, yeah, I made it to dinner break. Happy about it. Not, I made it to dinner break and we're not even close to the money and this sucked and I'm so grumpy. No, they're proud of themselves. They got some experience and they're getting their money's worth. The rate they're paying. So those tournaments are good for a lot of people. And if you're a pro, just realize that you're not the only person in the world that WSOP is trying to cater to.
And listen, I guess I come from a different... I remember when $1,500 buy-ins were a 1,500 chip starting stack. Yeah. So and my first WSOP was 2006, you guys. Mm-hmm. So, and I remember feeling kind of gypped, you know, I came to Vegas. I was here for a few days. I played 2 events. I was in for 10, 15 minutes, and I'm like, wow, this sucks. Yep. And I actually stopped playing poker for a while after that, you know, because I was. You know, it was just it wasn't really that fun. You know? But so I come from a different area, meaning that I can appreciate the progression of, you know, the way the buy-ins have adjusted and the way that the structures have improved to allow more play and
oh wow,
we're both enhanced.
Everyone's enhanced. They're getting into some really dicey spots over here. So I wanted to say what's up to our peeps who are out there watching. Gigi Fab, what's up? Deborah. Gigi. Always these are some of our ladies, some people women who are really active in the poker community. Aaliyah, obviously, and Matthew. You may be the only sausage in the chat so far, but we support you also, and we're glad that you're here with us. For those who are listening in the podcast world who aren't with us live, we're gonna take a quick break for you so you can hear a little note from our sponsors. 7:30 is when that goes on. Okay, so we're back. For those who are listening, we are back.
We should have just plugged something right there. Katie can be like, oh, the Whopper Big Double Shrimp.
Oh, yeah. And actually, that we might as well plug this anyways because you're a sponsored pro who lives in the United States, Katie, which I think for most of
hard to do.
Us, that's crazy. So what's up with all that?
Well, I mean, I think eventually it'll get easier. You know, the good news is that online poker looks to be going in a positive direction. So hopefully there will be many more in the future. But yes, there aren't that many opportunities for people to play legal, regulated online poker in the U.S. Just Nevada, New Jersey, and Delaware. Hopefully Pennsylvania, really soon.
July 15th.
July 15th. So and I don't even know. I'm not even sure what. Which sites are going to go live on July 15th. I don't think it's going to be all of them. I don't know which ones it's going to be. Even though I am a sponsored pro with BorgataPoker.com and MGM, I couldn't tell you. I just don't know. You know, it's just all kind of, I think a lot of the people also who are running things don't know probably too.
Because there's all hurdles, there's gaming and there's a bunch of stuff they have to worry about,
So you've both made the transition from living in New Jersey, playing in New Jersey, to now living in Vegas, being in Vegas. Can you talk a little bit about, what that transition was like, what the inspiration for that transition was like? And, I mean, I'm assuming you're both ultimately happy with the decision, at least.
Well, we're trying to get Katie to move to Vegas, but she's...
Wait, what? I didn't know about this.
You didn't move here? You're just, here for the summer?
Well, I mean, we share a house here with a friend, year round, so we kind of,
She's here a lot.
We're here a lot. We're here, probably 4 months out of the year or something. Yeah.
So, if Borgata's listening, she doesn't live in Vegas. She lives in New Jersey.
Okay, got it. But both of you guys are sort of, I mean, I still always will think of Jamie as, Jamie's an East Coast grinder
she's
to
OG
everyone.
East Coast, of course, it's always going to be the case.
So what's the difference? What's the difference in both the live poker scenes? What's the difference playing online?
Well, I'm actually gonna go all in right here in this.
Okay, wait, let's get him a sweat. Wait, don't show him till you either get called or not. Only once you're called or not. Okay. Protect your cards.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
If the people you are playing with are actually watching, they are the ultimate sneakers, and they deserve it.
If she gets called, we're gonna give you. Oh yeah, we're gonna give you a sweat, guys.
That's not a good thing that I got called by the way,
it's okay.
Guys. It's
all right,
not
ready?
amazing.
Show it. Oh, give him a sweat.
We've got sixes.
Hold.
3, 4, 5, 9.
Let's go.
Race. Here we go, and we win the race. And we win the race.
That's online poker.
Yay.
Yeah, I mean, I primarily play online. I'm probably about 90% online tournaments. And I'm primarily in New Jersey, and I'm right down the street from Borgata. So Borgata, as you know, Jamie knows, has tons of live tournaments constantly. Just
WPTs and just huge, even the leading up to the WPTs, there'll be massive guarantees where you could win like $300K in a tournament for $500.
It's amazing, and it's really nice that it's in our backyard. We're really lucky that we're like that close and that we have that access to 5 minutes away. But even if you're just like an hour away, it's still like really good to have, one day $400 poker tournaments where you can win $50K in one day. It's just like amazing to have those things currently. And what's encouraging for me is just that I can see the direction of where online is going, and I know that like even those events are going to get so much bigger when online continues to
you can satellite in from other states and stuff. If we all pulled together, and Pennsylvania could be in those satellites too, you'll be getting like double the WPT fields. And
think about it too, like especially with WSOP too, like they have the circuit events everywhere. Like think about how massive those circuit events are going to get when people from all the different states can qualify for a 1600, and like they can just start running like megas on Sundays, like 10-seat guarantees the week before a circuit event main, and like these things are going to get massive. And especially so it's like it's I'm very encouraged. I know a lot of people are like out there saying like, oh, poker is dead and whatever.
It's not
I'm
dead.
like,
these fields have been like double what they're thinking. I think the main might get 8,000 people.
Yeah, I think you're right. And like also just like the whole like women's poker scene too is just kind of like booming, and that's that's probably due to, like you were saying, that you weren't aware about Ladies Week, and that's kind of a good thing too, because the women have been super active this year, and that's so now you're made aware of things, and you're not alone. Probably a lot of people are like, oh wow, this is really cool, Ladies Week. Like it's been going on for a while, but now it's kind of like a big celebration and a big party, and people are really excited about it, and I think it's great. I think it's really cool.
And having more than one event is huge. And actually, that reminds me, I wanted to. The Women's Poker Association has a booth in the hallway, and they actually were in conjunction with the WSOP. They're the sponsors of the warm-up for the ladies today at 6, and they have a big campaign going on right now, which is #RaiseItUp, which is about essentially creating a space for women, which is super focused on respect and fun, and that if we had both of those things, then that would equal growth. So campaign is #RaiseItUp. Definitely check them out at WPA.poker. WPA.poker, Women's Association.poker if you're looking for some way to join in and, participate. There's a little patch even. Wow, check that out.
That is
really cute.
This is the cutest little patch ever. This is basically a pasty. Thank you for that. I need one for EDC next year.
You must have super small nipples. Those are not pasties for this girl.
All right, we're going to leave that alone.
Not gonna lie. So I think it's interesting because thinking about you being an online poker player primarily, I think for most people that's kind of not as much a thing anymore, obviously living in the US. And it brings up an interesting conversation. So I have Rob Young from Party Poker coming on the PokerNews podcast next week. And actually, if you have questions, I'd love to ask them to him. I am not as familiar anymore with what's happening in the online scene. So they are banning HUDs, which it's like a big, like more than just the HUDs though, right? Right, of course.
Change your player name and everything.
So there's a whole bunch of things, and as an online player, talk to us a little bit about it. What are some of the benefits and obviously the issues with this?
Yeah, it's a huge issue. Everybody knows WSOP is HUDless. They've been HUDless for quite a while, right? And just as an aside, as far as I know, it is not affecting New Jersey for anybody who's in New Jersey. So I think it was like, is it June 17th or July 5th or something? It's like, it's coming up pretty soon. Hang on, sorry. So we might have to.
And Jamie, feel free to jump in. Whenever one of you is in a hand, the other one can feel free to give their opinions.
Oh, my opinion on this is that it's good for recreational players, and we should be caring about the entire ecosystem of poker and not just our own bottom line in this exact moment. And I think that's like an innovative way for party poker to say, like, listen, we're not going to raise the rake and do other shady things and make it more like these gambling slot machine games where like some people have accused PokerStars of doing. They're going to then instead try a different way to level the playing field a tiny bit so that rec players don't get just absolutely demolished every time they play.
And that's really, really important, and it's good that they're thinking about that. The only issue with it is that they are also taking away the hand histories. Right. And that is kind of the big issue. And that is a huge, huge, huge issue when it comes to gaming integrity. Mm-hmm. Over the years, people, Jamie is somebody who when I started playing online back in 2009, I was watching her crush, even before that. And back then, the 2+2 communities were really, really strong, and they were kind of like the watchdogs, like the internet.
There wasn't, colluding was hard because at high stakes, people would just throw a name out there and be like, hey, have you guys seen these two guys at every cash table playing these hands together and whatever? And they would find people and bring them to the attention of security at PokerStars and get people caught. And that was something that happened a lot. Right. Now it's just so big and there's so many people playing, and I think it's harder to catch cheaters. And I think that was one way that you could, is that you'd have hand histories saved forever.
Even now with the ACR and all these more recent things, it's all come from a deep dive into hand history.
It's come from people independent of the company going out on their own and doing things, and that's what you're kind of taking that ability away from the players.
Yeah. And you better hire a really good security team if you're going to have players not be able to do
and that's the problem, is how, this is the issue, is in the past, has that happened? Are we confident that that's going to happen? And I kind of feel like I still want to retain that ability to make those decisions and those investigations on my own. I kind of don't want to leave it to somebody that I don't know and, who doesn't understand what's at stake in as far as livelihoods and stuff and gaming integrity. So, I understand and agree with Jamie about going HUDless. I think long term it's probably the best thing for poker. However,
let me ask you this. I would consider myself a recreational player 1,000%. I like when there's fun avatars, and I want it, when I put, $250 online, I fully expect to lose it and just drink and have fun. Mm-hmm. And I don't ever think about, I definitely think, oh, I must be playing with sharks and they just can't wait to take my money. But I very rarely think, do people have HUDs going on right now? What kind of stats do they have on me?
And that's why you're so screwed, because people are getting reads on you. Say that you're a recreational player and your tendency is to never 3-bet. You have a 3% 3-bet. And it's on my HUD, I see that Sarah, whatever your name, you'll be anti-Chardonnay, 3-bet me, and I'm like, well, she's aces or kings. And that's something you're not even thinking about.
Right.
And that's something that's easy to exploit. And I feel like that's very sad for a recreational player who's trying to just play with $100 one night, that they're at such a disadvantage that they don't even know about.
So you're kind of more talking Phil Galfond style. It's not just about what the recreational player is thinking. It's more about making sure that the economy is sustainable for that player.
What's good for them, because
making sure the playing field is level and that you're not screwed as soon as you start playing a tournament.
What do you think about, and this is just crazy, but I think so far the poker community has been really great at policing itself in almost everything, in terms of integrity, in terms of even this arbitration on the fantasy draft. I think PokerStars recognized at a certain point that they needed to elect, sort of a panel of respected poker players to help them make decisions about things that they were doing. Do you think it would make sense for party poker as a system to say, okay, we're going to elect these 5 poker players to randomly check hand histories, or what would be a way that would seem
too. It's so impossible to do this because then you're giving them information that no one else is privy to. So it's hard. It can't be poker players. It has to be someone who understands the industry enough to be able to catch collusion and cheating and bots, but who doesn't play on your site. So perhaps you pay someone a salary to do this for you, and they're not allowed to play. And I don't know how to even, but then they could be giving their friends information. It's a really sticky subject that I don't really know what the solution is going to be.
Which is why I was thinking the only way you would be able to do it is to choose someone specifically or people from the poker community that have a reputation for being trustworthy.
If you said Ike Caxton will do it, I'd be like, yeah, fine.
And he's like, no, I definitely won't because I need to play sometimes too.
But it's really it's not just that too. Like it's the discovery of other ways of cheating too. You know, so like the people who have discovered, you know, through looking at these hand histories, they've also discovered other issues, you know, like other glitches in the software and other potential exploits that people are making. And so it's kind of just like, you know, I feel like you're just kind of handcuffing the players, you know. We pay a lot of rake to these sites, you know, and I just feel like the players have a right to be able to police themselves in that way. You know?
So is there really a workaround then? Is there a way to satisfy sort of both sides of the issue? No.
I was like, I don't know.
Clearly
They're trying.
Not.
It's like, I'm happy Party's at least trying, and they're going to see like how it shakes out, and I'm sure that they can change it back in a year or two if it's like making everyone angry and it doesn't solve any problems.
Yeah. I wanted to ask, Sean McCormick asked a question in the chat, which I think is a reasonable question, especially from the stance of a tournament director. And I think this also falls sort of in line with the question about, you know, pleasing recreational players and also pleasing, you know, professional poker players. Mm-hmm. Do you think that having, say, 100 bracelets makes bracelets less valuable? A. And my follow-up question to that would be, does it matter?
No, I'm going to brag about having a bracelet for the rest of my life if I win a bracelet. I could win a bracelet not paying attention, just pressing buttons right now, and I'd be like, I'm the best. Have a bracelet. Like, if it makes more people happy, like, okay, the people who had a bracelet when they gave away a few bracelets a year, they can be sad about it that more people have it now, but also, like, everyone knows the value of it. If you won one when they gave away 10 in a year, like, people know, it's like, wow, you won one in 2005, that's pretty cool. Yeah. But now, like, these fields are so huge. I'm commentating a bunch of these events where it has gone down from like 3,000 people to a winner. And if that's the 100th bracelet they gave that year, they beat over 2,900 people. I feel like that's something to be proud of. And like Sean makes a point. If they gave away 100 bracelets or 1,000 bracelets, you are kind of changing what it means to have one. But I don't think they've like gone way too far yet.
Okay, let me ask you guys this question. Because I asked a bunch of people this question and everyone answered the same. And I was surprised because my answer would have been different. Would you rather win a bracelet, money not considered, in, say, like a preliminary WSOP event, like a smaller, you know, maybe a 1K or 1,500 or whatever, like not the main event, okay? A preliminary WSOP event, or would you rather win a WPT title?
Snap WPT.
Dude! Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
They're so hard to win that the quality of player, if the buy-in is bigger, the quality of player is better. And I feel like you face like 6 good players at the final table almost every time. Like there'll be 1 or 2 people you're like, how'd that guy get through? But like you're beating Darren Elias to win. I'm like beating the end boss to win. I'm not like, the field, I just got aces a bunch and I like came to the final table.
The fields
for sure.
We're gonna be tougher,
and there
that's
aren't
why.
that many. So it's like there aren't that many, it's hard to win one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that goes back then to what you just said. There aren't that many, so it makes them more valuable, like supply and demand. It makes sense. And that's funny because that's what I said, and that was my immediate answer, and not one person.
Really?
Not one.
Weird.
And I probably
then
asked
you get to play
20
tournament
big
champions
sickos.
too. Like WPT makes a really big deal about like their winners, and it's like, oh, here's your tournament champions. We added a bunch of money. Here's a free prize pack, and like we give you food and parties and whatever, and you just like get this invite to this club for like the rest of your life. I feel like they do a good job of making that pretty cool.
Well, they're doing even better job too because now they have like this show and everything they're doing around the final tables and stuff, and that's pretty.
Esports arena is
that's
really
pretty
nice
fancy.
Too.
Like that's really fancy.
That's more than a Thunderdome.
Yeah.
The Luxor arena.
Yeah.
So what's a bracelet then?
I'll still take one of those. I'm not going to kick it out of bed. You know?
Yeah, I mean...
What about like an EPT title?
Sure.
Like if you could pick between... All right, so right now, you would pick a bracelet, right? You were going to say a bracelet?
You know, I don't know. It's just such a hard question. I don't really care about... Is that weird? I don't care about titles.
It would be good for your career. That's like,
I don't care about titles.
You should care. Like it would be good for your sponsorship. It would be cool
That's
for
true.
Luca.
That's
like,
true.
Your
That's
family
true.
will be proud of you. Like there's stuff, even if you're like, whatever, like as long as I'm doing well and I'm successful and I have money from poker. Yeah. But like other people. That's for other people.
I know, but like I think I made the mistake, like really, I think early on I made that mistake of caring about titles. And I think that that's probably why I, like when I first started in 05, 06, and then I quit, and then I came back in 08, like, even back then too, I think I probably put too much emphasis on titles and stuff like that, and I think that was for me in particular, that was probably just detrimental. I just needed to care about the game itself and doing the right thing.
That's what people without titles say.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
Dude, come on. I have a circuit ring, you.
I'm just kidding. You just teed it up like it was like right there. I had to go for it. Come on.
No, Sarah said that this
want a
baby
circuit
is
ring.
making her angry
Yeah,
and grumpy
I'm
and like
such a
seriously, look
maniac.
at this. You hear what you just said?
But I actually was gonna say, and then you already said it. I was gonna say that's spoken like someone who's been in the game since 2006.
Yeah.
Grandma has the old wise sage advice. But then I was like, which neg do I go with? And this one just made the most sense.
I like the neg you picked. That was good.
Yeah, thank you. But honestly, all things, you're right. It shouldn't matter. But it is funny because when I ask players, do you care more about the money or the win? And they say the win, the victory, the title. I love that. I respect that.
I mean, it's probably also just a product of the fact that I'm an online player. So it's like winning tournaments happens not to sound weird or whatever, but you have to win tournaments like a lot in online poker.
Because there's not a ton of money up top, and I agree with you. Like that kind of just feels like for that I just don't care. I'm like, if I won a tournament and got 2K, or if I got 5th in a bigger tournament and got 2K, like who cares? Like you look at your account at the end of the day, you're like, all right, cool.
It's the same thing. So it's like there's really like, and actually your results. I mean, as an online player, results actually kind of just like fade away in your head. So
except for when you guys both win one of this bracelet that's about to happen
oh
right
wait,
now.
whoops! I forgot I'm playing.
You forgot you're playing now.
Okay.
If you eventually win this tournament, it
gonna
will
be
be
so
because
sick.
of these
Dude,
things.
the
That's
tournament
so cool.
the circuit ring that I won last September, I registered it while I was in the car on the way home from a baby shower. And it was the one table I played that night, and then I won it. Like I had like put Luca to sleep in bed, and I was like playing the final table while I was like four-handed for a ring. I'm like, okay, maybe I should go down to my desk.
This is spoken like baby run good is an actual thing, which I really
Dude, it was
do
six
think that
max.
this is mom poker.
I can play 6 max.
Okay, well, for those who are listening online, I think we also need to give. There's all these. I'm not a normal host here for the LFG podcast, but it seems like y'all got a lot of sponsors, so we're gonna cut out to another one of our sponsors really quick, or maybe 2. Maybe we'll put 2 together right now at one time. Thank you. While we're doing that, do you guys want to catch me up on how you're doing in your tournament right now? Just for the sweat for those watching live.
This has been a death sweat. You guys on Facebook Live are death sweating me. I had 100K, now I have 40. Thanks. Yes. That's a lot, guys.
I have 30. I have 39K, and the blinds are 2,800. So
we're about to be on that.
Okay, so next time we go all in, we need to keep talking. We need to keep it going with all these all-ins, sweats.
Me and you have like the same situation.
Oh, yikes.
Hang
on, hold on.
Uh-oh, are we going all
gotta
in?
use a brain.
I have to like actually think about
wow.
this.
Yeah, this is a spot. We'll keep you guys posted. We'll keep you guys posted about how this whole thing is going.
All right,
so you guys are both obviously playing. Are you guys going to play the warm-up while you play this online event?
Are you playing it?
I am not. I just think it's going to be too late of a night. But I think it's a great thing that they're doing it. I think that it's a wonderful... You're talking about the $150 live warm-up.
Yes.
Ladies warm-up. Yeah, I think it's awesome. It's really great that they're doing it. It's the first year they've done it. I don't know whose idea it was, but I love it. And it's great for ladies who either have been here for a while or maybe are coming and aren't playing. Some ladies don't play the WSOP 1K.
Is a big buy-in for like new players.
Yeah.
So it gives them a chance to like experience a WSOP-ish event without having to put that much money in. And then if they cash, maybe they final table it and they just go, okay,
and
like,
then
I have
go
my buy-in.
Yeah, and like some of them are just playing the 300s and the 400s and stuff, which is great because like a lot of the other poker rooms too are upping their guarantees on ladies tournaments, by the way, which is really cool.
Oh, that's nice.
So like Venetian yesterday or 2 days ago had a 50K. Win has a 50K.
I played Aria. Aria was nice.
Aria-
It was like 155 players or something like that, and was a really great tournament actually. And they have nice chairs. It's like they had 3 floor people running our tournament.
Oh, nice.
I have like never seen that for a ladies event ever, where they like actually care about you a lot.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah, it looks like they had a good result because I think they said that they were going to increase the guarantee for that
Let's
next
go,
year
guys.
too. Oh yeah.
Let's go.
Are we in?
That is a double up. Lead but not flush.
For some
You left
reason
on
we
the get
can't
there.
see.
I check. Interrupt you.
I splash the pot.
Yeah. So,
FYI, you guys, the comments weren't coming in for like 20 minutes now, and I'm just now getting
They're
back to
like,
them.
Sarah,
So
you got broccoli in your teeth. Like,
yeah,
oh my
we're
God.
just getting to
now
the
we see them.
comments, so we'll come. It happens periodically. I don't understand, but we'll come back. So this is interesting because you said earlier in the conversation, and since this is a Ladies Week episode of LFG, I'm curious what you both think. You said in the conversation that you think that there's an increase in ladies in poker. Is that like based on numbers or based on just like seeing Ladies Week, or what? Why do you think that that's happening?
There's more women in regular events for sure. Like I'm sitting down, it's not even a novelty anymore. It used to be like, oh my God, we have 2 or 3 women at a table, and someone would have to remark it, and then we'd be in a hand together and be like, oh, cat fight. It doesn't happen anymore. It's normal. Like nobody really bats an eye if you're sitting next to a lady or two, and I think that's really cool. I think that
Compared to
women's
last year?
compared to like the last few years of poker.
Okay.
For sure. And I think ladies events were like a gateway into being comfortable enough to like go sign up for a regular event and take a little risk. And, you know, the first time I played at a table, I felt like an alien, and everyone looks at you. They're like, oh, girl, like, I haven't seen you. You must be new, and you're probably not good. And now it's like different. It's like there's so many women playing that I don't feel like they are met with quite the same, I don't know.
I haven't seen the stats yet. The WSOP periodically puts out sort of the numbers so far, and actually I think they sent one out yesterday, but I didn't see stats on ladies yet. Okay. But I was surprised when I was doing my research, you know, to make my predictions for the summer. I was surprised to see that year on year in the last 2 years, it had been down, in fact, that the number of ladies was down. And I think maybe it's one of those things where it's like confirmation bias or something, you know, where I was thinking, oh, there's more women and we're all coming out or something. And that actually the numbers didn't support that at all, that it was traditionally about 4%, but it ended up last year being just a little more than 3.7%.
For the main or for overall? For everything?
Overall.
Oh, wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, that's surprising. But the lower buy-ins will help.
Yeah.
The lower buy-ins will help, and then online will help, and you know, it's all good stuff that's happening. It's all really good stuff. You know, these $500 online bracelet events, these are like the kind of the first time they've been doing these. Well, they did last year like 400 or 600
There's
or whatever.
There's a bunch more this year.
Yeah,
but
but
there's
there's
one every Sunday pretty much.
There's like every week there's ones, and you can satellite into them, and so
that gets more women into poker too.
For sure.
Like that, my mom was terrified of it when I was trying to teach her how to play. She did not want to go to a live casino, and she'd grind $5 it and goes online, and she was like winning a little bit of money. And then you realize, okay, I kind of know how to play poker, and then you're less easy to push around when you're at a table, and there's less to be afraid of when you're like, I'm not going to do anything stupid where everyone laughs at me. And,
For sure.
You know, it's good for women just to like get comfortable playing online.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it. You know, there's benefits to both. There's benefits to playing online. There's benefits to playing live, and you know, I personally think that online is the most ideal entry. You know, mode of entry for women, just because of the choice and the convenience. You know, I mean, there's. You know, I don't want to go to the casino and play poker.
And you have Luca, like you can't go.
Yeah,
all the time.
I have a
like,
3-year-old.
You have responsibility,
so.
but you can put your 3-year-old to bed at like 9 or something.
Yeah,
and then you can play. Like that's a really
yeah.
cool thing for women who, you know,
It's huge.
Sometimes, you know, who might be having a baby on the way.
Right, and especially like just the different
Texas forever.
The different
we can't play
games,
online
too.
or live in
That's
Texas.
so crazy. That is the craziest thing in the world.
So ridiculous. Yeah.
It's really sad, and I'm a big believer in freedom. I thought Texas was all about it.
Yeah, you like
but
freedom?
Love it, dude. All over, like everybody. I just want everybody to have that. But okay, so let me ask you this then. Obviously, you guys are way more in the mix than I am. Do you think that women are getting as good as men? And I think how to preface this is obviously if there's lots more women joining on board, we're seeing the last few years, if we talk about numbers, the WSOP has increased quite a lot in total field size. And so the basic gist is that everyone says, oh, players are just getting better. Players are just getting better. Do you think that the female players are also getting better at the same rate that the male players are getting better?
I have a pretty strong view if I'm going to take this one.
Go ahead,
The women who've stuck around, I feel like on average are way better than an average male player that stuck around. I feel like you have to really decide to be in it. Like there's a lot of bullshit that happens, and like you have to kind of get over that before you can last long. And I think that like if you're not faced with hurdles, and you can kind of be like mediocre and not really into it, and you can kind of like, you know, grind yourself along. But I feel like dealing with some of the stuff that women talk about at the table, where you're like, oh, like some guy's just going to talk to you for 12 hours straight. You're their entertainment for the day. You have to really, I almost said the F word. I don't really know if that's allowed. You have to really freaking love poker to put up with annoyances and continue to play day in and day out. So I feel like the women who've stuck around tend to be really good players and like maybe better on average than
Interesting.
men.
That's really interesting.
That's my hot take. And men are going to be like, you're bad. I'm like, all right, I'm not talking about me. Talking about Katie.
I could see, actually. I mean, you make a good point.
Yeah,
that it's just more
point.
difficult to stick around, so you have to love it, which means you're probably studying harder, you're in the game
Well,
harder.
it's like, yeah, I mean, it's also harder to stick around because women tend to have children. So
Yeah,
it's-
you have
so
other
it's-
responsibilities.
So it's like a lot of women have, you know, we've seen even like, you know, a lot of our friends even who are, you know, out having babies. Doesn't mean that they're done with poker, but that's what's
taking a serious break, though.
They're just taking a break.
Yeah.
But think about it too. Like the way I like to think about it is like, what other job do they have that would allow them to take a 2-year break, you know, and then come back to their position in their current position and not have to worry about, you know, like, yeah, you're going to have to do a lot of studying and like a lot of work to get back if you've lost 2 years, but like you're professional or whatever, you know, you're going to have to do that. But like what other job? Like
yeah, PokerNews, what other job? Right? What other job would let you do that? It would have to be a really good one.
No, but seriously, like that's the thing. It provides so much freedom. I mean, for me in particular, like I didn't work for 2 years and I stayed home and nursed my son, and I'm very grateful for that.
That women also have the opportunity. This is an argument that I've made for a while, which is unpopular, like a lot of my opinions, but that women also have the opportunity to get better faster because the doors in a lot of ways open faster. So I think a lot of circles of women are more welcoming to new women, for one thing. And if the whole idea is that, like, you know, to get good in poker, you need to have poker friends to talk with. And then also that women stand out more. So it's just easier to make friends, connect with people, where I think a lot of, if you're like just average Joe 25-year-old dude, it's going to be like infinitely harder to connect with the people that will make you better.
This is a good
That
question.
goes
This is a
both
really good
ways
question.
though, because when I first started playing poker, yes, guys will like talk to you and help you or whatever, but you're not like, hey, come live in our grind house, where we just like never clean our house and we play video games and teach each other poker. Like you're not the invite to that. You might get asked to dinner, but you're not like getting.
You're not on the in, like you're not on the in crowd, and that's like that's like the huge, like it's been really hard to find like the right groups, you know, to like, because that's how you get better, you know, like there's training sites and then there's you know, books and there's
and there
all
wasn't
these...
that, and there weren't really training sites when we were playing, so there wasn't like, oh, I really, really want to learn how to be better. Like I would post on 2+2 and high stakes MTTs and ask questions and people would answer them and it was cool, but like compare that to like watching a video by Petrangelo on Upswing, where it's just like, here, I'm going to take all my knowledge of my brain, just give it to you
in
like,
45 minutes.
Yeah, you didn't used to have that. So like I used to look at these guys that would like hang out all summer together and have a group, and I'm like, oh, that would be so nice to just be in this like...
And that, and like, I'm not going to lie, like that's been tough to find, like, because at some point too, people aren't always like really, really generous with information. Also, you know,
people are way more protective of information.
Really protective, and especially if you are really trying to, like, you know, get to a certain level in poker,
you're going to be their competition soon if you like get better.
It's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys watch the 10K horse at all?
I did. I railed it for a little while. Yeah.
So that's something that I thought was really interesting. I mean, speaking about being really careful with information. So I've obviously spent the most time on the European circuit, and Dario Sammartino is one of the sickest high rollers who can 5-bet bluff with nothing. And I don't know, he's just, I've had a lot of respect for him. I think he's a sicko. And as I was watching the stream, you can hear Greg Mueller going over to his rail and saying, like, he's bluffing here, this is happening. He clearly had a read on him. And for me, seeing Greg Mueller, like, he's an old school guy, he's an old school player.
Live pro.
Yeah, and just watching him totally soul read someone, I was totally mind boggled and thought it was amazing, because basically what I've been hearing in the course of the last, 6 months of talking to players is, you need to see Raise Your Edge. You need to like join these poker. You need to join, different poker sites, and this is the way to get. If you don't do this, you're not going to get good at poker.
Yeah.
And then watching Greg Mueller do that, I just was like,
yeah,
whoa, this is like end boss for me. Like this is so crazy to see. And so, what do you guys think if you were to recommend? Even let's say we have our like 40 ladies out there watching. What would you say? Like, these are the things that I think you should focus on to like really get better.
I think what you're describing is like a product of experience. Like he's had his ass in the seat, like thousands and thousands of hours of live poker, and you can't come into poker and sit down and expect to have that instinct. So what you can work on is like you can watch upswing videos, and you can make sure that your fundamentals are good. And then you start watching more elite videos, like like upswing is my favorite one, but I'm like, I think run it once you're good at poker, you can like target areas you know you're weak at. Like run it once videos are like, hey, working on 3-betting from the small blind, stuff like that. So then once you see what your weaknesses are, you go to that. But you can't just expect to like soul read people and have no idea about fundamentals. Like you just won't be very good. It's like, yeah, you're going to be right sometimes if you're like sick at reading body language, but you're going to be screwing up so many little things along the way that you can't make up for it. So I would say like studying is never an optional thing anymore. People are too good. So start by studying, and then like the more hours that you are in the chair and like reading people and reacting and finding out if you're right or not, then you start to trust your instincts.
So is it something, because this is what I thought was interesting, is that, so I was talking to Christy Arnett the other day, on another girls' day, we were having an actual girls' day outside the Rio, and she was saying if you want to get better, watch Raise Your Edge, watch like videos, fix that game, but she said there's a certain part of the game that's almost impossible to teach, that like either you have this instinct, you have this feeling, or you don't, and that you can get really good at poker without having that instinct, but that it's just something that's not teachable.
I mean, she's probably talking about like the intuitive, the intuitive qualities that come from just like a lifetime of experience.
Yeah, isn't that based on it's based on experience? It's not based on nothing. Right. You don't come out of the womb being like, you don't got aces.
Right. I call.
Like, yeah, it is like intuition is like a collection of all this information you have that you're not really conscious of, right? But you have it from sitting around and seeing what wins, what doesn't win, like what works, what people look like when they're bluffing. Right. You might not even be able to pinpoint like what it is that makes you call in one spot versus one guy, and a similar spot you fold easily.
Yeah,
right.
I know, and that's exactly right. And I think that intuition type, I think women are more apt to be able to like kind of touch in.
Dude, our daily metagame is like so fucking extra. It's so
that's my point. Is like
we overanalyze everything.
Oh, get out.
Yeah, be helpful.
Yes.
So it's kind of like it's maybe like that's why I think women make better poker players, like from a very fundamental. Like if you were to try to like recreate and like build from scratch like the perfect poker player, I think it's a woman, because we just have less, I think we have less ego than the men, and I think it's easier to control our mistakes and also refine our aggression than it is for men, because,
I'll agree with that part for sure. The ego thing, like where I'm like, when someone 3-bets me 3 times, I'm thinking, all right, they probably have a good hand. They probably have a good hand. Yeah. I'm not like, I'm going to get that guy.
Right,
like,
exactly.
I hate that guy. He thinks I'm weak.
And
that's
whatever.
Why
I suck at poker.
You're like, I'm going to get that guy.
I'm like, I was like, no fucking way he has it this time.
Yeah, and that's another reason why online is so great too, because it just conditions you to understand. Like I was going to kind of like you were saying about what to do for the ladies, how to improve or whatever, and I was going to kind of follow that up with
online.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like just getting online and playing, and when you do get online, understanding how important the volume is and how important, because I think what happens too with ladies is they can get a little bit discouraged if they don't have good results right away. And I know for a fact that that's happened quite a bit.
You can just be playing all the time. Just get that volume in, girls.
But the thing is like, my point is like, if you play, like live poker is really slow. And for the most part, most women are kind of starting out playing live poker. Mm-hmm. And so my point is just like, if you play a few tournaments and you even go a year or whatever, a couple years, and you just don't have good results, it really doesn't mean anything. Like the amount of tournaments that a live recreational player is going to play is probably what Jamie and I are playing on a Saturday afternoon. Yes. So it's important to not get discouraged if you aren't doing well. The important thing is to put the work in and then just keep going, and then you eventually
don't be results oriented. Kings, call. Jeez. All right.
Oh, wow.
Sweat. 5.
Oh wow, we've got it, guys.
3. All right, sweet.
We did not time out on kings.
What was I going to say? Oh, don't be so results oriented. It's easy to do that when you only get to play one tournament a week or a month or something like that. Like you get your aces cracked, you're like, okay, what did I do wrong? I must have done something wrong if I lost. And it's like, nope, sometimes you do everything right and you lose. Like, it's part of the game. You realize if you're playing online, you're like, I'm really happy with how I played today, and I didn't even come close to cashing. There's days, Sarah, where I have aces on 3 tables at the same time, and I lose every time. Like, I will lose all 3 pots at the same time. Have you tried just folding them? I feel like that's
get out.
And I'm just like, you know what?
Give yourself.
I mean, whatever. It's just like another day. But for somebody who isn't really understanding that that's like a really normal thing, that could be very discouraging for them. And then we might not see them
live
again.
Tournaments. You might have been playing 3 12-hour days and gone out with aces.
Every
aces.
time.
You're going to jump off the Rio.
And Jamie, and if like you tell us that, we're just like, oh, are you
like,
going to go home and reg online? Like,
Yeah,
what are you going to do? Like, what's next?
Yeah, okay. I'm with you. So I want to tell you guys that you have the opportunity to win a seat if you are looking to play some live poker. But before we get to that, I want to talk a little bit about, you guys have both sort of branched out in your poker careers, and I super commend that. I think that basically anybody that's not doing more than one thing at one time is losing out on the opportunity to grow just as a person and figure out that there's lots of things out there. Jamie's been commentating her face off, which I've been saying for years is something.
Me losing my voice?
Yeah, but it's great.
Amazing.
It's great. And
love it.
It's something I've been really wanting for Jamie for years.
Me too.
Every time we've ever heard her, I think everyone knows she's awesome and funny and
we
charming,
knew it
but
was
also
gonna
smart.
happen.
Yeah, but
we knew.
it's great to see that happening. And then word on the street, Katie, wait for this, outside of being so sponsored in the US, is that you're starting a podcast? You're going to be part of a podcast?
Yes. See, it's kind of a big deal. So yeah, it's kind of a big deal for me because I generally take a long time to make decisions, to do things. So yeah, the idea actually occurred to me while I was nursing. So this was year 2016.
So sexy.
I know. Yes.
This podcast sounds so
occurred
sexy
to me
already.
while I was nursing and I was on maternity leave. So the idea was to do a podcast about women's poker, and it's called Queens Up Top, and discussions with women in poker. And it's just women. There are no men allowed, and it is a pretty unedited women's only pod that will talk about all of the issues surrounding women in gaming, from Jamie's roles to Sarah's roles to
Can dudes
dealers.
listen if they want?
Oh yeah, for sure. I
What
mean,
if they want to know the inside scoop?
No, yeah. The dudes will hopefully definitely listen, because that's kind of the point, is to bring the situations, because so much of what we hear about and what we see about, unfortunately, until now in women's poker has not been really presented to us by women. And so therefore it kind of goes through, edits and changes and vision shifts and whatever. And I just felt like it was time to just say what we feel and say what we want. And maybe that's good for the guys to hear too, because sometimes it's good to hear it from, the players and the people who they actually know. So,
I have to say this is a super bold move, but I also I will give you my 2 cents on this. Okay, so with less than 4% of the total poker population, this is a very niche market you're honing in on.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I do Facebook Lives quite frequently, and similar to what, Jamie, you were saying about the women who stay in poker, that they have to be the most sort of invested in
thick-skinned.
I'm telling you, when I do a podcast with someone who's deeply invested in the female poker community, I get twice as many people as when I'm just doing it open to anyone, which makes zero sense from a numbers perspective.
You dare not exclude me.
They are. Yeah. I feel like women are so committed, though. Like, the women who are in this game are really committed to supporting each other.
I thought you were saying that dudes listen because they're just like, F you guys.
No.
Listen.
It's even like this. It's like, we're like, oh, hey, and then it's like, you've got Gigi, you've got Deborah, you get like the Maureen. It's like there's a small community of people who I think are super active, and so that may very well work in your favor. And I have to tell you, it's really smart, because podcasting is a really great way to make money.
Yeah. Oh, really?
It's
like, so rich.
If you like giving away your time for free and you just like hate your time, podcasting is what I suggest getting into.
Well, I mean, the nice thing is, that's the other great thing about playing poker too, is that I can kind of make my schedule and I can dedicate how much time or how little time. That's also the detriment too, because I had this idea for a while, and this is now just finally now when I'm getting around to launching it. But yeah, so I'm launching it with Farah Galfond.
That's awesome.
So
Big fan.
she's the first guest, and then these are all recorded already. And then Jen Shahadi will be the second.
I know her too.
You know her, and then
I saw her the other day at the Palms, and she pretended like she didn't recognize me.
I don't
or
think that
she
is
really
the
didn't
case.
recognize me.
I think
She didn't recognize
she
you
probably
then.
didn't.
She maybe didn't even see you.
She probably didn't have her glasses on.
I did not have
or-
makeup on.
yeah.
Sometimes it's like mask
gotcha.
on, mask off. You know what I mean?
If
But
I
I
ever
was
started
like,
wearing makeup, people would be like, what?
yeah, like who is this
person?
hoe?
Who's this?
Where did she come from? She must not know how to play.
Yeah, and then Marley Cordero will be so I've got a
Cool.
good lineup of people, and then Jamie will, I'm sure, come on,
her way in
and
there.
Lauren Roberts is going to record, and and the nice thing too is because I'm here in Vegas so much, thank you, ma'am. One of my best friends in the whole wide world, Matt Berkey, he has like an in-house production studio, and so I can kind of just literally walk into the studio and everything is set up and done, and we press play and we
That's
talk and I
definitely
walk
good, 'cause,
out.
Like tech
and
issues are like the bane of my
it's
existence.
really, really tough. So it's nice having friends who have in-house production studios and are willing to help you and produce your show for you.
And shout out to Matt Berkey, who we love.
Huge shout out to Matt Berkey.
And
yes.
Solve for Why.
Yes.
And R.I.P. Doogie, my boy,
I
for
know.
life.
Ugh.
For life, dude.
That I cried over Dugan dying.
too.
Like I'm a
Me
effing
too.
weirdo, but like I was going through Instagram and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Because
Yeah.
I know that like Jordan loves his dog, like I love Crouton,
Yeah.
and it like hurt.
No, Doogie was special.
Dugan, there are threads on 2+2 dedicated to Dugan. I
Well, I
may
need
or
to
may
add
not,
the
I
pics.
may or may not be
Yes,
responsible for
a very
starting
good
one of
boy.
them back in
I may or may not be stalking them every day.
2011.
All right, so I want you guys to know this is how you can win a seat. So at the Aria on June 30th, 5 p.m., One Step Closer Foundation is going to host its annual charity event. Sunday, June 30th, again, at 5 p.m. I pretty much go every year. I cannot go this year. I'm not going to be there, but basically everyone who's anyone goes there. Noah Schwartz is always there spewing like as much money as you possibly can. Jennifer Tilley's there. I think Montel Williams hosts it. I'm trying to think, honestly, like every single table you're at, there's like 4 or 5 either celebrities or professional poker players, and it's just super, super fun. It genuinely is one of my favorite. Actually, it's one of my favorite events ever of all the year. Oh, balls. Okay. So if you guys want to win a seat, there's a giveaway on the LFG podcast. Subscribe and either
easy.
subscribe
Easy
and
goal
either
now.
tweet or Instagram the hashtag LFG podcast. So subscribe and then either tweet or Insta LFG podcast, and you could win the One Step Closer giveaway from the LFG podcast. It was just so fantastic to talk to you ladies. I'm really hoping to root you guys. I feel like this podcast is going to do a lot better once you win the bracelet in
Yeah.
this event.
We kind of abandoned our normal format because we just do what we want because it's ladies. We do what we want.
Oh yeah, because
like-
our emotional meta does not, like, you do not tell us what to do.
No, there's like
okay?
a list of things we're going to talk about and we're like, no.
Oh, I must have. There's a lot of things going on my
many
screen,
things.
so we incidentally decided to do what we want, which is what women do for the most part. Anyways, my husband always tells me, like, you know, that it's like he can say whatever he wants, but he knows that I'll do whatever I want anyways. And so that's the benefits of getting married. I hope you guys who are out there listening realize that's what's coming. And we're going to give a final shout out to those who are listening to the audio version of the podcast, to our final sponsors, Odds Checker. Deuces, everybody.